Hey everybody, it is Liz with Liz Art Finds. We are here today with another haul video. It's a fun one. I got some good stuff. Excited to share with you. So I am a part-time reseller over on Niknax and eBay. For those of you who haven't been here before, I want to welcome our new subscribers because we do have a few. And really quick, what sold this past week, not a ton because I have been slacking a little bit, but over on Niknax, I sold this beautiful glass shoe. I had paid originally $1.99 for it. It sold for $12. My profit was $8, and that is after cost of goods and after fees. This Kentucky Fried Chicken work shirt sold over on eBay, and it sold for $16.99. I had originally purchased it for $5.99. My profit on that was $7.89 for a total profit of the week of $15.89. Not great, but I haven't been doing a lot of listing. So I have been actually listing some things for my upcoming show over on niknax.net. So on the 24th, which is Sunday, August 24th, 2025, at 4:30 p.m., I do have an upcoming show that is birds. So it's a lot of bird figurines and things with birds on them, mostly figurines and critters and things. The theme is zoo, and all weekend, the 23rd and the 24th, people are going to be having different critters that they're showcasing, and mine is birds. So I've been listing birds, and I hope to have all those listed by the end of the day today and have that show ready for pre-bids. So that's exciting. Yeah, so anyway, let's look at this week, what we found. It's a lot of stuff. And some of it's a little overwhelming. Like, I had an auction pickup, and I'm only going to show you a few things from that because there are a lot of things that are very low value mixed in with some things that were very high value in the same lot, and I'm going to show you the high value stuff. Let's start at the very beginning. Let's just kind of run it back. Where we left off last week, I think, was on the 6th of August, and I still had one more stop that day that I didn't share with you, so I'm going to share that, and then we'll move on to the stuff that came starting the 12th, 14th, 15th, 16th. Okay? All right, so on the 6th, I ran out to Sabres, and I picked up some baggies, and then a couple other things. So the first thing I picked up, and this is probably the weirdest thing you'll ever see me pick up, is weird. So I picked up a set of 3, I'm not going to carry 3 over here, but 3 duck pin bowling balls. Now there were 7 of them. There were 4 of them that were brown, and then there were 3 of them that were this blue and black and white. The reason I left the brown ones is they were monogrammed. They had somebody's initials on them. So these did not, and I thought they would probably be better. So I think they were $2.39 each, so I think it's $7.17 for all 3 of them. They are duck pin bowling balls. So if you don't know, now I grew up in Rhode Island. We had duck pin bowling in Rhode Island. Up in Massachusetts, they have what's called candle pin bowling. So duck pins are like tiny little regular bowling pins. They're like short and squat, and you use this kind of ball rather than the kind that you put your fingers in the holes. So this is much easier for a child. So when I was a kid, we used to have bowling parties all the time. So we'd go to the bowling alley, and they would do birthday parties for kids. So these are easier for a child to roll. So anywho, duck pin. And then candle pin, the pins don't look like bowling pins at all. They look like just like almost like cylinders, a little bit fatter in the middle and a little bit tapered on the ends. And that, I believe, is in Massachusetts. But they both use these balls, okay? So someone had donated their bowling ball collection. It was 3 of these, like I said, and 4 that were brown that I ended up leaving. And maybe one of you guys picked them up. So anywho, value on these things. Now these are not in the best condition. Like, I have cleaned them a little bit, They could probably stand to use like a lacquer finish for someone that knows their bowling balls and like how to finish them. I wouldn't do this unless I was a professional bowling ball refinisher. You know, they may stand to be refinished, but I'm not touching that. So we're going to sell them as is. I think they sell around 15 to 20 each. So for the 3 of them, that would be like 45 to 60. And the total I paid was $7.17. So that is the reason I picked them up. They were highly undervalued or underpriced, in my opinion. And we'll see what happens, right? So these will go up on eBay possibly this week if I have time to get some listings done. It'll be probably one of the first things I list. I do have a few other high value things I want to get up. Anywho, so then I picked up a couple baggies. One of the baggies, oh, I got a bowling ball in one of the things. One of the baggies had this adorable creamer. Now it did not have the sugar. So this is Fitz and Floyd. Let's see. And it's really vintage. It's 1977. Okay. It's got the Roman numerals there. So LXX, that's 50, 60, 77. Yeah, 1977 Fitz and Floyd. Okay. So it's definitely got some value. The interesting thing about this, when you're looking up values, they made this in 2 sizes. They had a big one that's like a water pitcher. There's like 48 ounces. And that's the one, when you look up your comps, that's the one that's in the $45 to $60 range, which of course, when I'm on the floor at the store, I'm not seeing that. I'm just seeing, oh, it looks just like this, right? So I paid $2.23 for a baggie that had this, and it had a little ramekin. I am keeping the ramekin. It doesn't have a lot of value. It is made in France, just a little ramekin. You can never have too many, so I'm keeping this, but I am going to sell this. Now, without its creamer, and without its sugar, there are some that are listed just the creamer. And let's see, I think it's like 10 to 15, because what I'm seeing is the sets of the sugar and creamer selling together around 24 to 28. And there was one of this, the small one, that sold for 18. But I think the 10 to 18 range is probably 10 to 15, probably more reasonable. But it's in fantastic condition. There's no issues with it. I mean, considering it's from 1977, I mean, that's amazing, right? So, yeah, so I was pretty excited about that. And like I said, I picked it up, even though it had the ramekin in there. I'm putting this on here, which is why I was holding the bowling ball. Just so it doesn't roll around. Anywho, you know, I'm happy about that. The other baggie I picked up was $5.59, and it had 3 things in it. Okay, the first thing is semi-contemporary. This is a Love Cat by Jill Henrietta Davis. Now there is the little tail in the shape of a heart. Now, we've talked about Jill Henrietta Davis before. I did write down a few more things about her, or a few things about her, just so we can have it in this video. And I forgot to print out her photo. But she is in Rhode Island. So I know of her. And I actually, when I was just up in Rhode Island last, I actually picked up one of her little contemporary bird figurines just for my own little collection, because I just thought it was adorable. Okay, so she was born and raised just outside of Boston, Mass. She began her career in glass at the New York Experimental Glass Workshop while studying at Parsons School of Design. So that's in New York. She finished her Bachelor of Fine Arts in 1991. She was the first Parsons student to earn a degree with a specialization in glass, which is really cool. Then she went to Seattle to study with the best. She actually had a vision at that time of creating furniture incorporating handmade glass. She had a bunch of shows, and then a few years later, Rhode Island School of Design came calling, and she moved back east. So back in the late 1990s, she came back to Rhode Island, and she's been there ever since. So it says in 2003, after 15 years of making one-of-a-kind artwork in glass, she undertook a new challenge by founding Henrietta Glass, a limited production studio, born from the idea that it's even harder to design a really great piece of glass that can be readily reproduced than a really great one-of-a-kind. So Henrietta Glass strives to bring excellent design and craftsmanship to audiences outside the limited world of fine art galleries. So basically she does little figurines, right? And they're at the Rhode Island School of Design store, which is where I bought my little bird. And so they sell these little cats for like $38 new. Now this is like new, right? It's contemporary. It was in a baggie with other things for $5.59. So the resale on it is typically like half retail. So 10 to 15, maybe 14 on this. So it just depends when and how I decide to sell it. But you know, definitely get my money back out of that. And then there were two other pieces in the baggie. Now, one of them is this green carved stone bear. Okay, do I think it's jade? I do not. It could be a green, like a calcite maybe. Somebody has one listed as a aventurine. I don't know. I'm not sure what this stone actually is. It's like an agate. It feels like an agate stone. I paid, so on the, taking the $5.59, dividing it by 3, on the little cat, I paid $1.86. So we're going to call this $1.86. And these sell in the 15 to 20 range for this exact bear. Someone actually had it a little bit higher listed, but I did find it sold around 18. I found another one just around 20. So, you know, that was a good thing. And then the third thing in there was this adorable little cat planter, bud vase type thing. There's no marking on the bottom. I did find a couple others like it. They're called like loving cats or hugging cats planter. And it's in the 8 to 12 range on that. So not a huge amount, but again, you add them all together, it was worth the amount that I paid for that baggie. And then I picked up two other things that day, and one of them is not here. Actually, you know what? It might be. I was going to say it's in my light box for me to take a picture. Nope, it's already here. Fantastic. I have a box under the table of all the things for my bird show. So this guy's going to be in my bird show, and it is here. So I thought this was the most adorable thing ever. It is a painted rock owl. It's 3D driftwood, and it's got a little hanger on the back. So it's just a piece of decor. Now on the negative side, you can see the glue where people have glued it on. But other than that, I think it's pretty great. I'm sitting here having a deja vu moment of like, did I show this already? Because I think I talked about the glue, but I don't remember. If I did, I apologize. I did pick this up as part of that last stop last week. $2.39 I paid for it, and it should sell in the $12 to $18 range. And then the last thing that I picked up that day was this adorable polymer clay girl. Now she is also a wall hanging. She's got a little hook right there. And she's signed, and it's signed Joan 95. And then it's got a sticker on it, and the sticker says 1986, the Bakery Bells, B-E-L-L-E-S, and then it has an address and a phone number, and it's in New Hampshire, from Hempstead, New Hampshire. And this is polymer clay, and it is incredibly well done. I mean, the lace is real lace that was placed over polymer clay. The flowers are real flowers, the basket's a real basket, everything else is polymer clay. So they did a really nice job with the texture on the hair. This is the back of it. She's got super long legs. Just very, very well done, and nothing is broken. I checked the flowers, I checked everything very carefully, so it's in great condition. I paid a little up. I paid $5.60. I think she's probably worth like 15 to 24. I don't see anything. If I look up the bakery bells, I don't find anything. I really, even with a Google Lens search, I couldn't find anything like her. So we're just guessing, and I think that's probably a good guess. All right, so then now we're looking at the 12th. I went out to a couple places, didn't really find much of anything. I did find a contemporary tile, and this is contemporary. You can still buy these on this website, which I did not realize when I picked this up. Picked it up at Savers. The company is called Hand in Hand Designs. They're based in Tucson, Arizona. And this is their Cat Day of the Dead is, I think, what they're calling it. So they call it, so let me just show you the back. Right, Hand in Hand Designs, and it's earth tones tiles. And let's see, kiln glazed and fired in Tucson, using an old world Spanish technique known as cuerda seca, or dry line. So it's in excellent condition. I figured with Halloween coming up, it would be a really good thing to have. I paid $4.89. These sell new, I think $33 something, $33.95. So I think it's probably worth 12. I wrote down 12 to 15. Could be a little bit more, but that's probably reasonable. All right, so then on the 14th, I went back out, and I just picked up a couple critters, and one of them will make you smile, because it made me smile. So I've got this trinket box, okay? So take a look at this. I'm going to turn it around and see if you get it, and then I will tell you what we're looking at. Okay, and it's a trinket box. It opens like this. It's in great condition. Okay, this is a boxer with boxing gloves. Yes, indeedy. So I thought it was hysterical. It was 99 cents, so it was definitely worth a pickup. They sell 8 to 12. So anyway, that just gave me a chuckle. And then the other one I picked up was, it's a bell. Bells are not usually the greatest thing to pick up, but look at those eyes, look at that face. So he's stamped Jasco, Taiwan, right in there. It's a little cat bell, super cute. Again, 99 cents, probably worth, or the solds are in the 8 to 12, and there was one that was $14.99, so I wrote down 8 to 15 on him. So super cute little dude. Had to pick him up, couldn't leave him. All right, so then on the 14th, which was I think Thursday, I decided to try a new place. Believe it or not, there's still new places near me, places I haven't been. So it's a thrift store in the next town over, and they get their donations through different, I think, church ministries, different churches. There wasn't a ton there. It had been pretty well picked over. It felt a lot like a yard sale that had been picked over. I found one thing. I picked it up. I know it's a reproduction. I'm pretty sure it's a reproduction, but I think there's still a little bit of value. So when I searched this, and this is a very interesting story or situation. Pretty much everybody on eBay either has it wrong, or I think what happened is someone posted something that was a reproduction as an original, and everybody else copied that. So this is very much like Jonathan Adler Menagerie animals, okay? There is a giraffe that's got this hexagonal kind of design. I did some really deep diving because other people have been asking, like on Reddit, things like, you know, how many sizes did they make? And is this a reproduction? And there was someone that responded that actually used to work at Jonathan Adler and explained that if it's not stamped with the A, and it's an actual stamp in the ceramic, like on the ceramic, and it would have been down here, and it's not. And then it said the feet, like they showed a picture of what it would look like if it was the actual Jonathan Adler one, and the holes in the feet were rectangular and they were very precise. A lot of the ones that are listed online as Jonathan Adler not marked are reproductions from China, and the holes are they're typically round. Now this one is covered with little matte things, but you can feel underneath that they're round. I believe this to be a reproduction. The other thing that is kind of giving me that thought is that a lot of the originals are matte finish. And if you look at other things in the Jonathan Adler menagerie stuff, if you look at it, a lot of it is like a matte or satin kind of finish, and this is very clearly gloss, okay? So my best guess is that this is a reproduction. The other thing that that's kind of leaning me in that direction, I mean, I can always be wrong, right? The other thing leaning me in that direction is that the original Jonathan Adler menagerie one is about 17 inches tall, and this guy's 12. Okay, he's smaller. So it looks very similar. It's got that same, you know, that different marking on the back and on the undersides. Like, it's a very, very good reproduction. If it is a reproduction, my guess is that it is a reproduction. And also that everybody or almost all of them on eBay are reproductions, except for the ones that either have the sticker or have the stamp. Most of them that I'm seeing right now are saying that they're unmarked. Now, here's the thing. They're being sold as Jonathan Adler. Some of them are. Even one of them said Jonathan Adler style, and that one's still sold for over $100, okay? This is Jonathan Adler style. It is not Jonathan Adler, I don't think. I tried to find the catalogs, the older catalogs. I tried so hard to try to find the actual images of what the real ones look like in the catalog, and I was not able to find that easily. So I'm just going by the fact that this is not marked and it's not stickered, and based on what the gentleman who worked for Jonathan Adler said, that there was only one size, and that, you know, it's anyway, that the cutouts were pristine, et cetera, I'm going to say this is reproduction. In which case, that's a long way of saying this, the value is not as high. The value is probably more in the 10 to 15 range, okay? I paid $8 for it. It's worth more than $8, okay? But again, something is worth what someone is willing to pay. So as long as you are disclosing, this is most likely a reproduction, okay? There may still be somebody willing to pay a little more, okay? So that's, I mean, because it's good. It's really good. So anyway, there's that. So that is all I think I did on the 14th. It got kind of late. I went out on the 15th to one or two places, and again, left with not much. I picked up two things, and one of them I just thought was really pretty. So this is a little plate. It says Grove Collective. Grove Collaborative. Okay, there's no markings on the back. I did clean it up a bit. It's a wildflower, like a trinket dish, trinket tray. I like it. I paid 99 cents for it. There was one that was sold for $9.60. So I'm going to call this 8 to 12. So not high value, but more than the 99 cents. And then the other one I picked up, I'm still trying to figure out. Okay. So I can tell you what I know. This is raku. Okay. You can see the black on the bottom, black on this side. All right, it's got that raku finish. It's really pretty. This is the top. It's a tall kind of vase. Like I could see this on the wall with some like straw flowers kind of coming out, or yeah, or on a mantle, on a fireplace, as a design piece. It's interesting that the fire on this side, like it really does look like that some of the fire kind of came up into the glaze on that side. And then we've got this and we've got this. So now there is a marking on the bottom. It's going to be really, really hard for you guys to see. I spent a lot of time taking photos from like different angles to try to read the words along the top and the words along the bottom. The bottom says made in Italy, and then it says in Italian something like formo a mano or something like made by hand. Made in Italy, made by hand. Okay, so we've got that. It says RES as the initials of the company across the middle, which I haven't figured out yet. And then something at the top, I cannot read it. And then the second word says fume. I'm thinking it's referring to the fact that it's raku, that it was made by fire. That's what I'm thinking. I have not been able to figure out that first word. I can't even tell you what letters are in the first word. It's just it's very, very small and very, very hard to figure out. Anyway, so I paid $3.99 for it. I'm going to put this at 35 to 50. It could be more. It could be a little less. I've got to try to date it and see how old this is. If this is just like a contemporary modern thing that someone could have picked up at Home Goods, then obviously the value is going to be lower. I just don't know enough about it yet, and I haven't had time to do that research yet. But I think more than $3.99 for sure, and I was willing to take that little risk. All right, so now we get to auction. Auctions end on Thursdays and pickups are Friday, Saturday. So this was a really interesting auction. I won two things. One, super exciting. Actually, they're both super exciting. But one was a lot of two Fenton pieces, two Fenton animals. And I'm going to show them to you because they're really exciting. The second was a lot of dolls. So outside of my range or my expertise, but I got a lot of 15 things for $10. So for 66 to 67 cents each, it was worth trying to figure out. And I will definitely make my money back on that. But let's take a quick look at the Fenton. So these are super exciting. So this is a little mouse. It's slag glass mouse. And it says on it, Fenton 100 years, okay? Which is cool. And then it's also got a side stamp that says NFGS, okay? So the NFGS, I'm going to pull down my words here because I got some words, is the National Fenton Glass Society, okay? So they do their own figurines in conjunction with, and they're typically special releases, special editions, special releases, collector's items. So people belong to this National Fenton Glass Society and they get special options to purchase special things. Like this year, they've got a mouse, different color than this, but this mold, and I think it's like $30. So they do limited quantities available only to the NFGS. So NFGS is a nonprofit organization dedicated to promoting the study and appreciation of handmade glass, particularly that produced by Fenton. So, like I said, they do these collabs, and it says the NFGS Fenton figurines are often considered highly collectible due to their limited production runs, unique designs, and association with the Fenton brand. Okay. So super exciting, right? Now, not a lot of people know this, and what is exciting to me is a lot of people that are buying at this auction that I buy from have very specific preferences. So for example, this week coming up, there's more Fenton, which I'm excited about, but there's Steuben and Baccarat and some beautiful, beautiful high-end glass. And people are going crazy bidding on the Baccarat and the Steuben, and they're missing this. Now, if y'all see my video and you know where I'm buying stuff, there is some Fenton still this week. I think they're going through a collection. There's also a beautiful Horrend collection that someone has donated, and they're splitting that over multiple weeks. But the prices on those are also getting crazy high. Anywho, this guy, I paid, it was like $27 for the two of them, so $13.50 for the little mouse guy. And value on him is between $30 and $75, okay? And then there was also a Fenton cat. Sponge painted, little heart-shaped nose, signed, says hand painted by Van Zyl. Okay, let's see if there's any markings on this. It also has a Fenton sticker. The Fenton sticker just says Fenton hand painted in the USA. Now, I'm looking to see, oh, it's got the Fenton stamp, and I don't see that NFGS on this one. But I did see one on Worth Point that was listed as rare. They were sponge painted in a couple different colors. I've seen some green ones, I've seen some blue ones, and I see the red one. Let's see, prices on these. There was actually a sold at $150. There was also a sold at $45. So we're gonna say this is somewhere in between. Exactly the same, right? So if I end up putting this over on eBay, I'll start it high and take offers on it, but an amazing piece, right? So I paid $13.50. Even if I get 45, that's still great. So just a really beautiful piece of glass. It's fun to see these things like in real life, right? The other thing that I got, like I said, I picked up a lot of $15 for $10. Amongst them, now this is not even the thing that made me bid. The thing that made me bid, let me just bring this down here. The thing that made me bid was actually this Elvis doll in box. However, the top is shredded. Okay, so this is new in box. If the top had been not shredded, if this had been in pristine condition, it's also bleached a little bit. Like you can see the coloration is messed up. There's some scratches. I mean, this is not in good condition. But in excellent condition, this guy would sell around $120, like 90 something to 120. Or at least some have sold for that. So that is why I bid on this. In this condition, he's probably worth 10 bucks, maybe 12, maybe 15. There was a lot of 2 that sold for 22, and it wasn't torn like this. But like I said, the super pristine one sold really high. But anyway, I figured even if that sells for $10, I'm getting a whole bunch of other things with. And there was a surprise. So at least a surprise to me. So as I'm going through and reviewing what I got this. This is Madame Alexander. Madame Alexander is a very prestigious doll company. In fact, I used to have a Madame Alexander doll when I was a kid, but it's in terrible condition. So this one was part of the world. It was like Friends from Foreign Lands was the collection. And this one is, it just says African. Now there are a couple other designs for the sari that she's wearing, but she's in really, really good condition. Okay, so she's got her tag sticking up, but she's in great condition. She's still got her information. And these sell, ready? I'm gonna see if I can find it here. $75 to $199, y'all. Okay. So even if I get 75, that's fantastic. And I got a bunch more things. Now, the bunch more things, I'm going to show you a couple more, but other than these, they're basically $5 to $8 items. They're not anything like this. This is the treasure in the lot. So that is one of the reasons I love buying lots of things. Like when I buy a lot of $15, I know I'm going to learn something from it, and you just never know what you're going to find. I do try to do some research ahead of time. With this particular lot, I just dropped a $10 bid on it and I forgot about it and I won. So amazing, right? So this guy will go on eBay, and we're going to start it high and see what happens. So that was super exciting. Let me just check my notes here and see what else I wanted to talk about. And there's one more thing. Okay, so a couple other things. I did find this rust troll. It's a little painter troll. As I'm touching it now, it's sticky, so the plastic is starting to break down. So it's not worth much of anything, but some rust trolls have some value to them. This is not one of them. This guy, I think I had at $5 to $12, I think $5 maybe, but it does have both the paintbrush and the paint can, which is kind of cool. It is kind of dirty on the nose. I couldn't really get it clean. So not in great condition. I'd probably sell this for $5 or less. And then the other one I wanted to show you is this Tony doll. So this is kind of cool because it's from the 1950s. Sorry, her hips. She's jointed, like she's got her legs here and they're not all that stable. I did take the dress off and hand wash it because it was filthy. So this is now clean, a lot cleaner. The hair clips, I don't know if they came with or if that was added by whoever owned it, but this is one of the Tony dolls. Tony dolls, I'm going to read it, were a popular line of dolls produced by the Ideal Toy Company from 1949 to 1953. That's how old she is. She's really old. And her eyes are the sleepy eyes. They close like if she's lying down. You can see that her eyes close. They open when she's awake. And so the special thing about the Tony dolls, they were a promotional tool for Tony home permanents for your hair. So they were known for their ability to be styled and permed thanks to their nylon wigs. They were designed to teach children about hair care. They came in various sizes and hair colors and were a promotional tool for Tony home permanents. It says a key feature was its nylon wig, which could be washed, combed, and even permed, unlike the mohair wigs used in other dolls at the time. They came in different sizes, yada yada. So it says vintage Tony dolls, especially with original tagged clothing, are popular with collectors. Now I haven't checked to see if there's a tag in the clothing. I believe this to be original clothing. I don't believe there was a tag in it. But anyway, they don't sell for a ton, and she's not in the best condition. You can see her lips, like some of the paint is kind of coming off. I guess for her age, she's okay, but she certainly wasn't kept away from sun and things like that. I mean, her dress is a little faded, etc., etc. So I paid, again, for each thing in this collection, like 66 cents or 67 cents, right? So not a lot. And 35-ish on the solds on these guys. I think with this condition, it will be less than that. I think 24 possibly is what I could comfortably, easily, and fairly quickly get. So yeah. So anyway, that's just a few. That's 4 out of the 15 pieces that I got. And like I said, everything else, some of them are small. Most of them are like souvenir type things. So very, very little value. I did show you the best, and I just didn't want to go through the 10 million things. And then lastly, on the 16th, on Saturday, on my way back from the auction place, I did stop into the Unique down in Falls Church, and I found this amazing fish platter. So this is just so cool. It's ceramic. It is signed DW. I have not had the time to search down who that might be, but it's got a little tail, it's got a little fin, it's got the little fish face and the eye. Just a beautiful platter. I love this a lot. I mean, it's just gorgeous. I paid $5.59 for it. There is one listed right now at $35, and I think $35 is a fair price. I could easily get $28. I think $35 is definitely reasonable. I'm sure when that sold new, it was much more than that. And then I just picked up a couple other quick things. I picked up this Winnie the Pooh mug because you know me, when I see value, I'm going to pick it up. So this is Disney. Okay, and $2.39. These sell 15 to 18 pretty consistently. So it's got cool graphics. It's got the honey, it's got the bees, and it's in really great condition. It's like new. So I picked that up, and then the last thing I picked up is this silly little ceramic bunny. He has very little value, and in doing some research, it looked like he had a companion. And so this is just one of the two. And I paid $2.39 for him. He's probably worth 5 to 8 in a critter show. I would probably start him at 4 and see if anybody was interested. But anyway, I just thought he was cute and I wanted to pick him up. So my total spend this week, including the auction, was $90.20. The value, the reasonable value, I think is around $575 to $580. And that is really conservatively. And that includes some of the things I didn't show you that I said were like $5 each. So we're at like 6 to 6.5 times this week. So, I mean, some good value. The Fenton things, especially that Madame Alexander doll for sure. You know, and some of the other smaller things that I found. So that was this week. So, you know, a little different than usual, but fun nonetheless. Don't forget to follow me, subscribe. Brain is not functioning. Anyway, hit the like, hit the subscribe. There you go. And join me Sunday, the 24th of August, live on Niknax.net. Okay, under Liz Art Finds. I'm going to have the link down below to my actual show. And it's just some cute little bird figurines, you know. I mean, there's a Fenton one in there that's painted, so that one's really awesome. And then, you know, I've got some gourd birds. I've got some, I've got an ocarina, like a owl that is a whistle. Definitely from the 70s. You can tell by the paint colors. I'm trying to remember all the things. There's a lot of birds. So I think I'm going to have 34 birds listed. Plus, in the Buy It Now, I'm going to bring in some birds from past shows and possibly some other animals if I have time to list them. So anyway, that's that. Thanks for watching. We will catch you again next week. Have a fabulous week, everybody. And yeah, thanks for watching. Bye.